Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel, and on today's tutorial we are going to be moving further on our fabric beading techniques. I'm also going to be introducing sequence and other tips you should have in mind as a fabric beader, so please stay tuned and have a good learning time. You're welcome once more. So this is our second video on fabric beading. I'm going to drop a link on the description box for you to go back and check it out. So this is just continuation and me introducing new pattern, me introducing sequence in our fabric beading experience. So, and I'm also going to be showing you guys how to bead without it showing on the lining. Yes, I'll be doing that. So now let's get started. I know I've wasted much of your time. So now, first and foremost, like we said on our previous video, you have to secure your thread and also secure your thread on the fabric, like what I'm doing now. Our first stitch or our first beading pattern of today is the twist stitching, like trying to make a rope out of our beading experience. Now, previously I mentioned that if you're beading, you have to use the same length of the bead if you're adding it, so that it's not going to be squeezed. But in this pattern or in this stitch, we want it to be squeezed, like we want to press it together, so it's going to box out just like this. Then once you do that, you go back two beads behind it. Just look at the video. I'm trying to find the right terms, like what I'm doing now. After taking it at the middle of the first beading, I added the same amount of bead. Then I took the needle back to the last bead. Just check what I'm doing now. Yes, once you get it there, you're going to shorten the length, like we're trying to squeeze. We're not putting it at the exact measurement. We'll go back there at the second one, then we'll bring it out, moving the other beads away. Then we're going to bring out our needle from the last bead, where the last bead was stopped. That is where we're bringing it out. It's like you trying to continue from the previous beads you have already secured on the fabric. That it is. I'm trying to bring it out from that place. Did you see what I did there? I brought it out from that last bead. That is what I was trying to explain by indicating with my finger there. Then now that you brought out the needle from that side, you're not going to feel another bead in it. Then you're going to squeeze it. You're not going to put the beads to be at that exact spot. Instead, I will shift my hands back. That means I'm going to go back by one bead instead of the whole. I'm using 5 bead, but I'm going to put my needle at the 4th bead. This is 5 bead I'm using, but I'm going to put my needle at the 4th bead and I'll bring it out. Then I'm going to do the same process again. I'll take the bead out. I'll take the bead out and bring it out at the previous place the bead it was before, like I'm doing so. You see, I'm bringing it out from there, like I'm trying to continue from the previous one, not the one I just put, no, from the previous one. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, because I'm trying to use a term that I could use. Now this out overlay here is what is looking like I did this work for someone. It's like a twist. You're trying to make a rope. This rope we use in tying, like that shape, that is what it's all about. That is what I'm trying to achieve from this beading pattern. I hope I'm using the right term and you're grasping what I'm saying. So guys, I'll be using sequence. Now the first stitch for securing your sequence to your fabric is a double stitch and beading. Double stitch, that's the term. So now it's just for you taking your needle and passing it through the center hole of the sequence, and then crossing it over to the left or the right, then taking it back, then bringing it out again from the center. Then you bring it out to the other side. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? You just watch what I'm doing in this second illustration, then you get my point. Now after taking it out, I put it through the center like so, then I infuse it back into the fabric. Then I'm going to bring it out again from the center, then I'm going to cross it over. Did you see what I did? Now that is the double stitch. Now I would prefer, or I'm going to recommend, if you're using this to secure your sequence, let it be you're using an embroidery thread, a thread that shines so it doesn't look so ordinary. Now our second stitch for sequence is our overlaying stitch. Now this is just you taking it from the center and crossing it over to one side. Now the second one, you're going to bring the needle out at the end of the sequence, then you pass it through the middle of the new sequence and cover. Now this purpose of this stitch is that it's going to cover the thread from showing. Like you see that the previous thread is not showing, so you use the other sequence to cover the previous sequence. You use the new sequence to cover the previous thread on the sequence. That is just it. That's why it's called overlaying, and overlaying of the sequence. Yeah, that's the thing. So guys, this pattern, the third pattern I'm going to be showing you guys is using beads as topper. Now this is like a single stitch, this is like a single stitch beading, like where you use one bead on it. Now you're going to use one bead for this. You use one bead on a sequence, then you pass the needle back into that same hole of which you brought out the thread to attach the sequence and the bead. You're going to take it back in that same hole, and this is the outcome of it. And you're also going to give a space, like you try to measure the distance of that sequence, then you put another one, so it's going to be meeting the other one, not too spaced. But if you want to make it to be spaced, that is if you're trying to create a design with it, then it's okay. But just get the whole ideology of it, that you have to take one bead as its topper. And this next pattern will be connecting each sequence by 3 beads. Now you can actually go 4, 2, 5, 6, depending on what you're working with or the design you have at hand. Now you just you connecting a sequence with layers of beads. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You're connecting the sequence with layers of beads. You add a sequence to your fabric, then you're bringing it out from the center hole, then you add beads to it before you attach the next sequence. You get it mustn't be 3 like I did in this video. You can decide to go with your own design or what you have at mind. So yeah, I was just showing you guys how if you cluster your sequence together, and it will just give you butterfly shape or a flower shape. And yeah, I added a pair on top of it to it's just a design I just wanted you guys to just have in mind, like things you can come up with, beads and sequence mixed together. So our next pattern is well explanatory. If you're looking at it, it's just you're trying to slant the beads to one side, then the next bead is going to be below the previous bead. You get, then you're going to bring the other one and taking it to the other side. But now what you have to take note about this pattern is that it's supposed to have, or it's meant to have, a center point, like a center line. Even if you're making a spiral with it, with this beading, it has to have a center. That's why I actually made that straight line, because once you fall out of it, it's going to look scattered. Do you get my point? On this overlay here, they made use of this pattern to do this design on this jacket. Now you can also improvise, means you can do it like this one is like a leaf or a tree shape, something like that. Now this is a pattern that you can use to create as much design, either spiral, circle, just like the overlay I just showed you guys. Now this other pattern is just slanting the bead one side, Do you get? You can also slant it to one side, then you come up to the other side to slant it as well. Do you get my point? Now this is a design on this overlay of how you can work with this design to create something on a plain material. And this is also what I was trying to say, that you can actually go the other way to like create a design just like this overlay here. So now at this point, I'm going to be showing you guys how to bead on your fabric without it showing at the back of the lining. Now what you have to do, that beading, you have to pinch on the fabric. Did you see the way I did? I just pinch on it. Now I'm starting this beading process. I just took a few inches on it and I secured my thread, of course, on the fabric. Now I've already taken in the beads. Okay, so I want to do a twisted stitch on it. Now you see what I did. I pinched the fabric. If you're beading and you're about to stitch, you will always feel it from the needle if you've taken more than just the front part of it. Now there's a feeling you know, because the needle will have a little bit weight on it because of both the main fabric and the lining is being captured by the needle. So that is how you always set your sense. Like, just try it out, then you get what I'm trying to say. Now you just pinch it and you take it in by not adding the lining to it. That is just the whole essence of it. You just pinch the main fabric, but you don't pinch it too tiny so that it doesn't, like if it's being stretched or something, it doesn't cut. Do you get my point? But you pinch it to an amount that is going to have strong firm on the dress, and as well it's not going to be obvious that you pinch it. You get my point? Just watch what I'm doing. So I'm doing the twisted stitch on this. Can you see what I'm doing? It's not showing behind this, and now you might say, okay, and it's because I'm doing this twisted. So I went out of the box again to do a single stitch beading on it, and I'm showing how I'm picking it. Can you see how little I'm picking it? Then I'm going to go over and pick more beads and also do the same pattern, and I'll pick it a little. Now all this process, but if peradventure you think you will not be able to feel the texture of the material when you pick both the lining and the main fabric together, I would advise that you kind of make your way to shift the lining from the fabric while you're beading. You get, like, you make demarcation, like shift, like I'm showing you here. You shift it and bead on the main fabric. Do you get? So that the lining will not be too close to the fabric, so you don't have to pick it along the line. Okay, so that is just the whole basic idea about beading on your fabric without it showing on the lining. So at this moment, I want to say thank you to everyone that stayed to this time, and please do not forget to subscribe if you haven't. Like, share, that will be as an encouragement for me to do more videos. Please remember, blessed until my next video. Bye for now.